Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here with the Splash Zone report for today. And all I mean by Splash Zone report is my favorite NBA player props of the day, named Splash Report, because we need to see who's going to be wet and who will not. As for today, I have 3 NBA player props for you guys to lock in for today's NBA betting slate. We're talking Thursday, November 30th. Tomorrow is December. How crazy is that? Before we get into today's picks, I do need to do a quick recap of yesterday, which was awesome. Yesterday was a good day for us. I gave out 4 picks on this YouTube channel. We got 3 of those 4 to cash. We end yesterday up 2.20 units. I thought we were going to have a 4-0 day, as the one play that lost was Paul George, 25 plus points. He had 17 at halftime, only had 2 in the second half. That was brutal. What a tease that was. But we will take a 3-in-1 day up over 2 units. That brings our total profit on the Splash Zone report season to date to be 8.86 units in profit with an ROI of 8.44%. So pretty good. ROI above 7-8% I will take. As I mentioned for today, I have 3 picks for you guys to lock in. Real quick, if you're not already, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like the video and comment on this one, letting me know your thoughts. And let's get into it. So play number 1. This is in the Pistons versus Knicks game. We're taking Jalen Brunson, 25 plus points, plus 100 odds at DraftKings. Now, this Pistons matchup was a matchup that we targeted yesterday for the opposing team. That came through amazingly, came through swimmingly. So we're going to do it once again in the Pistons matchup against the Knicks. The Pistons, as I detailed yesterday, are just a total abomination. They've lost a million games straight at this point. Just very much not a great year for the Pistons. Defensively, absolutely not great as well. And that is specifically also, they are not great against the opposing team's point guards. Again, this was all detailed yesterday, but if you missed it, I have some numbers for you. So the Pistons allow 27.56 points per game to the opposing team's point guards. That is the worst in the entire NBA, the most points allowed to the opposing team's point guard. By a wide margin, too. There's a pretty decent sized gap between them and the second worst team. Just last night, who I targeted, D'Angelo Russell, scored 35 points against the Pistons on an over-under of 13.5. It's ridiculous. Overall, the Pistons have allowed 8 of the last 9 point guards to play against them go over their point total over-under. 8 of their last 9, and that includes both starters and bench guys. So it's not just looking at starters. It's literally anybody that has a point total over-under, and that's a point guard, has gone over it. 8 of the past 9. The only guy that didn't is Jordan Poole, and we all know Jordan Poole is an even bigger abomination than the Pistons. Now, looking at Jalen Brunson, it's been an okay year. He hasn't been terrible. He hasn't been phenomenal. He's averaging 24.1 points per game, but he has been playing much better recently. He had a pretty slow start to the year. On his entire year, he's only hit 25 plus points in 8 of 17 games. But if you look a little bit more recently, he's done it in 6 of his last 10 and 4 of his last 6 as well. His last game was a quiet one against Charlotte, but the game prior to that, he went off for 35. I am expecting Brunson to go off once again today, getting 25 plus points for us. And for transparency purposes, I myself will be laddering him up to 30 plus. So I'm going to put a half unit on him at 30 plus. The 25 plus is at 1 unit. Obviously, we're only going to track 25 plus, but just to let you guys know, that is something that I will be doing. That is our first play. Next up in the Hawks versus Spurs game, we're taking Trae Young, 30 plus points, plus 140 odds at FanDuel. So our next play, another extremely juicy matchup that you want to target. This time we are targeting Trae Young against the Spurs, who are also an abomination. Now, they haven't quite lost a million straight like the Pistons have, but the Spurs are also very much not good. And like the Pistons, and this way they are similar, the Spurs are specifically horrible at guarding point guards. Now, the Pistons are the worst team in the NBA guarding point guards. The Spurs are second worst, right? The Spurs allow 26.74 points per game against the opposing team's point guards. Again, that's the second most in the NBA. Last game, Reggie Jackson just scored 20 against them on a 15.5 point over-under. The game before that, Steph hung 35 against them. Earlier this month, De'Aaron Fox put up 43 on them. So yeah, they're very much not good. Looking at Trae Young, it's been kind of an interesting year. I mentioned Brunson had a slow start. Not nearly as slow as the start that Trae Young had. He legitimately did not eclipse 24 points. He did not go 25 or more points in the first 7 games of the year for Trey, and he only scored 30 plus points once in the first 11. Since then, Trey has scored 30 plus points in 3 of his past 5 games, including 38 and 43 in that stretch as well. For this one, we're just looking at 30 plus to cash. I'm not laddering this one up to 35 or anything like that. I'm just going to take it at 30 plus. Hopefully he can get there for us, cashing our second play of the evening. Third up, our third and final pick of the evening. And I'm going to have a couple honorable mentions as well for players that do not have odds out yet at this time of recording. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, our third and final pick of the evening. This is in the Clippers versus Warriors game. I'm taking Draymond Green under 6.5 assists, plus 130 odds at DraftKings. So for our final play, I had to put in one fade play in the card in our slate. Now, to be transparent, Draymond's over-under, his main line, I should say, his over-under at all the sports books is 7.5, but they so heavily juice it towards the under that I decided to go 1 assist lower, get him to go under 6.5 at much better odds, right? It was like, minus 130 is the best offered. Under 7.5, under 6.5, plus 130, I thought was way more positive expected value. And the reason why I felt comfortable going under 6.5 as opposed to 7.5 for Draymond was because of a couple of reasons, right? Number one, the projection systems that I look at, I'll have a couple different sources that I like to look at. Obviously, it's not the end all be all. It's just nice to have that type of information. Props.cash projects Draymond to record 4.3 assists, which is horrible. That's disgusting. Betting Pros has Draymond as a little bit more reasonable, 6 assists expected for Draymond. Even with Chris Paul and Gary Payton Jr. out, I still feel comfortable going with Draymond's under because that's taken into account in those projection systems. Looking at Draymond on the year, he's averaging exactly 6 assists on the year, and he's cleared 7 or more in 5 of 9 games. And I'm taking out, technically he's played in 10. I'm taking out the one where he got ejected 1 minute into the game, so it's 5 of 9. So it's not like Draymond has been clearing with ease this alternate total that we are taking. And this matchup against the Clippers is not a super easy one for assists either. The Clippers allow 24.5 assists per game against them. Their defense does. That's the 6th fewest in the NBA. And if you specifically look at the power forward position, they allow the 4th fewest assists to power forwards. Now, the Clippers are on the second half of a back-to-back, so it's unknown who's going to sit. Nothing has been announced at the time of this recording. Even if guys end up resting for the Clippers, I would still like this under, hopefully cashing our third and final pick of the evening. Now, I would recommend following me at my Twitter handle you see on the screen here because there are 3 guys that I'm going to be targeting, just waiting for injury news. Number 1 is Karl Anthony Towns points. For whatever reason, as I'm recording this, no odds are even posted for player props for that game. But I definitely want to target Ant in this one, Cat in that one. I also want to target Brandon Miller. Just need to make sure that he actually plays. He's currently questionable. And then for the other one that I want to target is Kyle Lowry. If Jimmy Butler does not play, then I will be targeting Kyle Lowry. So some injury news to keep in mind. I'm not going to track those whether they hit or miss. Just wanted to be upfront with you guys. So make sure to follow me on Twitter to get those. And that's all we got. 3 picks for you guys to lock in. If we can get 2 of these 3 to catch, we will be profitable. So let's hope for that. Well, let's hope for all 3, but being profitable is also nice. Appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a good one.